Hey everyone, it's Tim Holtz and I'm here at Sizzix headquarters, and I am so excited to even share more cool releases from our Chapter 1 coming your way to a retailer in 2019. And wait till you see what we have. There is so much creativity, and this one really is about organics, little flowers and stems and funky florals, and even a very cool font that goes with everything. And the whole thing about when it comes to a die cut is a shape, right? But when you see it brought to life in a project, that is the wow factor right there. So I want to jump right in and talk about these Wildflower stems. Now I have several different Wildflower dies, but I wanted to create something that was a little bit taller, a little larger, and that's going to also coordinate with the existing Wildflower dies. But you can see here these long stems, but take a look at the detail of how this cuts. These thinlits are absolutely amazing. And there are two different Wildflower stems in this release because, of course, I wanted you to be able to add to your garden, your collection, if you will. But you can see here that when you pair them up on cards, whether you're just going to use it as that single shape, or of course if you use some of your mixed media or words, it's really, really a nice element, and also very big, very tall. That's why I wanted to do those large stems. Now, as I mentioned, you can also coordinate them with the original Wildflower, so you can incorporate them with shorter, smaller flowers to really get that layered look. Or of course, you can create something much larger, mixed media, even pair it well with that new tattered butterfly in there. But I just think that the shape or the size of these, just unbelievable. Now, the Wildflower 2 stems, where do you see these? Again, more designs, more style, but still that very sleek silhouette that you can put on a card, and it takes up the entire card front, which I think is really nice. But they're not too big that you can't group them together. That's another thing, because you can always snip the bottom of the stems to really get whatever look it is you want for your papercraft projects. Now, it's also very nice that you can, of course, lay them out, and keep that in mind that you can trim the bottom so you can get different scales and different heights, especially on a card like this. Pair it up with your favorite alphanumeric font, even add some of your favorite charms. Just think that's really, really a very cool card. Now, if you like color, well, fear not, because remember, the nice thing about a shape is that you can use your favorite inks, your favorite paints, your favorite watercolors to really give that pop of color. And you can see this is layered on that 3D lumber background, that wood grain. And I really love that new bold font, that Society down there. Look at that, just that really cool pop of typography. Now, of course, when it comes to palette, you can even take flowers, even if you're not into the vibrant, bright springtime colors, you can still make them grungy, just creating this on a vintage background. Adding some little lace trim, just think it's very, very cool. Can never have too many flowers, right? Well, that's good, because I'm gonna show you a whole lot more flowers. All right, so let's go. I'm gonna jump over here because this card, I'm not gonna lie, this card has been calling my name. Wait till you see this one. All right, so this is a thinlit die. Wait till you see it. This is called organic, and what this does, this cuts out this full background. Guys, this is one die cut. You are definitely gonna want your precision base plate for this one. But the nice thing about this die is it doesn't have that outer blade, so you can really create however wide element you want, or of course you can line this up and you can create a repeat pattern with this die as well. But take a look at all that little detail in there, and I love the fact that just adding those little pops of color really give it a beautiful organic look. Now, the nice thing about this, I think, is just the sophistication that this die has. So that means we can just go in and cut out a corner, add another trim of cardstock, and really use it to dress up a very, very nice card or envelope. Now, because it's just such a wonderful pattern, just cutting it out of black cardstock and pairing it up over a colorful background, how simple is that? But this really shows off all the detail in that organic die. I mean, take a look. There's everything from flowers to leaves to stems, just so amazing. And then, of course, if you are a mixed media lover, there is nothing better than using any kind of snippets of organic as a background. Place this down, glue it down, add some gesso and add some paint over it, and just like that, you have an unbelievable texture in your background. Don't underestimate the power of a die cut, right? All right, speaking of that, we've got some cutout blossoms, and I really like these because I'm all about negative space sometimes. Even though I love a die cut for a shape, sometimes the pattern that it leaves is very cool, and that's what these blossoms are. There are 3 different ones in the set, and the nice thing is it's just going to cut out that open space that's going to reveal your base layer or your bottom layer, whether it's inked cardstock or patterned cardstock. I like the fact that it has no outer blade as well, so it just kind of floats right in there on the card. Take a look at this one. This is the shaker, so of course we can get that to shake. You can see sequins and stuff in there, so just pairing this flower behind some acetate, adding some thickness, it's a great opportunity to create a shaker window that's something that's not just a circle or a square. Now, the nice thing about the simplicity of the design is that you can really call it out by just backing it with something very simple like white cardstock or even white acrylic paint. And then you can really call out all of your other color palette on a card. I just think these are so pretty. Very, very nice. Now, of course, with flowers, even though they have so much detail, we didn't let that kind of deceive us in saying, you know what, we're not going to be able to do anything in steel rule die anymore. You want to bet? These are unbelievable. Guys, this is a steel rule die. So this is a Biggs L. This is a much larger steel rule die, but the nice thing is it cuts, of course, larger flowers. And these large stems are so cool because I can cut this out of chipboard, I can cut this out of foam, I can cut this out of fabric, and really use this for dimensional elements. And you can see that they'll pair really nice on a large project. Take a look at that. This is cut out of chipboard. Look at that. That is chipboard. All of that little jaggedy element and detail, even these small little areas, that is a steel rule die, the power of Sizzix. So cool. Now, of course, you can also just layer them and add sparkle, add some bling, and this really has its bling game going strong. But it's very nice the fact that we can layer this and just customize it to your liking. If you want to keep it simple, the nice thing is there's a beautiful tall leaf in there. So this could, of course, be colored, layered, but I love the fact that we're not stopping with steel rule dies. We're just going to continue to push the envelope and really try to create as many detailed shapes as we can. Now, of course, one of my favorites is always alphabets. So I'm just going to bring this in just to show you. Now, a lot of these have some florals in there, but I want to talk about how we can build projects with all of these flowers, because let's face it, there's a lot of them. So when would you use them? Well, the nice thing about this is that you can use flowers to also pair with a gift card, right? Like a little gift card envelope. That's really nice. You can even use like the entomology framelit set. There's a lot of ways that you can use flowers besides just bunching them all together, right? Or you can just take, and I love the fact of pairing flowers with the background. Remember, it doesn't always have to be just about the flower. You can layer it with any kind of background, add a charm. It just creates a really nice, I think, kind of organic look. Now this one, of course, we talked about the faceted heart in the first video, and I love the fact that just adding a couple of flowers to that really changes the whole look of this. And I think it really dresses it up with that metallic cardstock on an inked background. Now, of course, when it comes to flowers, you can be colorful and vibrant and bright, but I love the fact that putting it on a solid background like black cardstock, wow, that really pops. It just creates a really nice kind of stark contrast. But more importantly is check out this font. This is the new Society Biggs XL. So it is a steel rule die alphabet, and I love this font because I love how there is just the highs and lows of this font. I think it's very, very cool, and the fact that we can cut it out of chipboard, well, that's the joy of a steel rule die. But let's never underestimate the powers of our dies, right? I know we love to make cards and scrapbook pages and journals and things like that, but making home decor pieces or gifts, that's what it's all about. It's a Sizzix lifestyle. So I love the fact of taking these flowers, putting these into a frame, and then taking that society die and just adding a word. Nothing better than that. So hope you enjoyed this overview of course, Chapter 1. Now this was only Part 2, so if you haven't seen Part 1, definitely check it out, and I look forward to seeing you for Part 3.